Well, it seems nearly every commercial...
I'm sorry, I'm just getting used to this.
Could you please behave yourself?
Yeah, I'm just getting used to this. Carry on.
OK. As I was saying, every commercial these days features a bikini-clad woman selling something. You can bet it is not bikinis.
No.
In fact, being provocative just to make a point has almost become standard practice in the advertising world.
I don't know about that afternoon show of yours, but this is a very serious show. Has the focus on flesh left us unable to tell the difference between smart and smut? And as the practice becomes more common, where do you draw the line?
Since the dawn of advertising, sex has been used to catch our eyes and open our wallets, selling everything from cleaners to cars.
It seems so much longer than last year.
It is. Nearly 4 inches longer in some models.
Oh.
These days, innuendos everywhere you go, even in the skies, like with this Air New Zealand ad that made safety sexy.
Life jackets are inflated by pulling on this red tag.
But only do so once you've exited the aircraft.
Lynx deodorant had a ball with their campaign.
Balls. Nobody wants to play with them when they're dirty. That's why you have to keep your balls clean.
Meanwhile, the burger business is booming, thanks to Sports Illustrated swimsuit model Kate Upton.
The Southwest patty melt with jalapenos, pepper jack cheese, and spicy Santa Fe sauce.
So, is sex simply a smart move for businesses, or has our flesh fetish gone too far?
It's disgusting. I'm sorry you had to sit through that. Joining us live from LA to talk advertising and sex is ad expert, is ad expert Matthew Bywater. Matthew, hey mate. Now another ad has just been banned in the US. This time it's a sat-nav company TomTom who are promoting their new cardio watch, right? The commercial features a scantily clad woman running in slow motion. Was this just a silly move by the company, you reckon, or it's got our attention?
Well, it's certainly got our attention. It's certainly got a lot of hits on YouTube and the like. And that's part of why they're doing this. The question is, whenever we're talking about someone using sex in advertising, is it relevant to the brand? In the case of TomTom, I can't see a direct relevance. And the risk they run is that people remember the bouncing TomTom, if you like, but they're not going to remember what the actual ad was about.
Is it not a win, though, Matthew, that just the fact that everyone around the world is talking about it, we're talking about it, I mean, that generates a lot of publicity.
Yeah, but you still got to remember the product they're selling. And what we're often talking about, particularly in the age of social media, is vanity likes. You know, you get a lot of likes, you get a lot of plays on YouTube, but it is actually moving product. And a lot of research around using sex in advertising says that you have great recourse, that people remember the ad, they talk about it, they want to share it, but do they remember what the product is actually being sold? Yeah, and that's the question we have to ask.
But there have been some big successes in this space. Is it ever okay, do you think, to actually use sex as a selling tool?
Yeah, definitely. It's got to be relevant. So we normally look at low-risk products like beauty products, clothing, those sort of products which are high impulse, low-risk products. If you avoid products like banking and financing, mainstream cars is one we want to try and avoid. So you've got to think of what the product is, what the target market is, and potentially do not alienate your potential target market, because sometimes some of these products tip over into that. Now, in the case of TomTom, it's generally a male purchase, but that is shifting. So if you sexualise by using females, you then start potentially offending the female market. And we've seen that a lot in the automobile industry.
Yeah, that's true. Not that we're rushing out to buy a TomTom, or I'm not anyway. Why?
But your husband is.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, exactly. He doesn't know why. He's also just seen some woman running slow motion. He just wants, Matthew, when it does work, and it works very well, why do you think it has such a strong effect on sales?
Well, we're naturally wired for sexual attraction. That's part of our sort of human DNA, if you like. So when it's done well, we actually attract, and that's why the attraction is actually using this type of tactic and strategy. So if it's wide and if it's done well and it's done with some degree of taste, we're going to notice it. But then when the product has relevance, then we actually have a direct lineage. If you make the consumer try to think, well, sexy-looking woman and GPS navigation system, then there's no correlation. You're asking the consumer to think too much about it. Our minds are too busy. You've got to make that a simpler process.
Matthew, is this fair? Is there a quality with this? We saw the Old Spice campaign, well received right across the board, with a spunky dude doing that, and then this guy, and then Kate Upton does it, and everyone's in an absolute uproar. It doesn't seem like there's sort of a tit for tat, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I'm going to leave that bit alone, Larry. But yeah, but in the case of Old Spice with Mustafa, I mean that's very tastefully done. You know, it's not overtly suggestive. There's not, you know, there's no pixelated areas like we saw with the One Direction guys earlier today. So you've got, it's very tastefully done, and it's done with a degree of humour. And there's actually, you know, the research suggests that in advertising research, it says that 79% of Australians prefer humour over sex in advertising.
Do you think it works better if there is the sex but it has the humour with it? I mean, we're less offended, aren't we, if it's funny?
Yes. Yeah, that's right. It is. You're entertaining the consumer, and that's always good. And it's more like, remember when you laugh at something, you find something humorous, it actually changes chemicals inside your brain. When you change the chemicals inside your brain, it's more likely to remember those things.
Okay.
And that's the power of using humour.
This can all go terribly wrong. Sex and advertising can turn ugly. Clothing company American Apparel, they saw their profits plummet, right, after such global criticism on their ads, their over-sexualised ads.
Yeah, I think with American Apparel it's a bit more than that. I think people are trying to find something easy to pin it on. They're in a lot of trouble in many different areas. And I think they've got an identity crisis. Are they a sexy young brand? Are they, yeah, because they've been around a while. They're trying to reinvent themselves, and they've just gone for the cheap shot. Let's just sex it right up, if you like. So I think their problems run a bit more deep-rooted than just using it overly sexually advertising.
What do you think the future of sex and advertising is?
Well, it's actually on the increase. And part of the reason is in certain sectors, as I mentioned earlier, it is actually very successful. I noticed some research University of Georgia did about a year or so ago, and they found out in the last 30 years, it's gone from about 15% of print ads were classified as sex ads, or sexual ads, I should say, up to about 27% today. So it's actually on the increase. But the thing is, what we're careful about is we are less likely to be shocked about these things today. So it's encouraging creative directors to push the envelope further and further and further, and this is why we keep tipping over these edges where there is probably, you know, community concern about it.
Absolutely, we're so desensitised to it now. You really got to work hard to catch us off guard and shock us.
I want them to bring back the Diet Coke man, though. Whatever happened to him? I want him to come out.
Whatever happened to you? What have you sitting on the fence in a over-sexualised ad content? Mate, yes. Sorry, mate.
Yeah, Coke's had a shift. Coke brought in Coke Zero for the male market. Diet Coke's now, that's a chick product these days, so yeah. It's a change in Coke. So.
You
can drink that while Marcus is programming using your TomTom. Hey, Matthew, thank you, mate.
No problem.
Thanks so much. Coming up, your X Factor update. We're going to look at the highlights from the first day of boot camp.